had led the Catholic Church since 2013 for 12 years now, becoming the first pope, in fact, from the southern hemisphere, the first Jesuit and the first non-European pontiff in over 1,000 years in Catholic history. Born Jorge Mario Bergoglio in Buenos Aires in 1936, Francis once trained as a chemist and even worked as a nightclub bouncer before joining the priesthood. He was further hospitalized in February this year with double pneumonia, but recovered enough to appear for Easter celebrations earlier this month. Now, known for his humility, reformist tone, and his outreach to marginalized communities, Pope Francis famously said, "Who am I to judge?" in reference to gay priests. Now, this marked a shift in the church's language. His death now triggers the process to elect a new pope, beginning with his funeral and ending when white smoke rises over the Sistine Chapel once again. For more on this story, my colleague Vishal Vivek joins us. Vishal, give our viewers a lowdown on the life, legacy of Pope Francis and what happens now.
Well, in the next 10 days, the next successor could be chosen, but that is up to the Vatican. The mourning period could be anywhere between 9 to 10 days, and there will be a public display of Pope's body. But Pope himself had talked about this in the past and said that he doesn't want the body to be displayed in an open casket. He wants it to be a closed affair. He doesn't want a big display of it, as you have also mentioned that he was one of the most humble people to ever occupy the topmost papal position in the world. And he had close to about 1.5 billion followers, and he had many firsts to his name. He was the first one from the southern hemisphere to be the Pope. He was the first one from the Latin America region to be the Pope. And he was also the first pontiff to talk about homosexuality in a very open manner. He said that, as you mentioned, who am I to judge? And he wanted all the homosexual people to join church and also be decriminalized. He had called for decriminalization of the laws that criminalize homosexuality across the world. So he had said openly that LGBTQI plus community needs to be included into all aspects of life, and they are also the same as rest of the people. So he had taken these positive stance repeatedly over the last 10 to 12 years, ever since he was chosen as the pontiff.
Thank you so much for putting things in perspective, Vishal. It's a story we'll, of course, keep on tracking. Now, moving on. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, wife Usha, and their 3 children, Evan, Vivek, and Mirabel, landed at the Parliament base in New Delhi this morning. Now, the family was received by Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav. While Vance was accorded the ceremonial guard of honor, Usha Vance watched on. Their children emerged from the plane, the boys in kurtas and Mirabel in a lehenga. Now, this is the first official visit to India. It's a visit by a U.S. Vice President after 12 years. Now, what's more, the U.S. Vice President visited the Akshardham temple, after which he will also be going to Janpath for some shopping. He will meet PM Modi later in the day, with talks likely to focus on an early finalization of the proposed bilateral trade pact and also ways to, in fact, bolster India-US ties. Meanwhile, NSA Ajit Doval and External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar are also expected to join the discussions. Now, the timing of J.D. Vance's India visit is very critical, as it comes amid a global trade war after the U.S. announced punishing reciprocal tariffs on several countries across the globe, and this also includes India. Meanwhile, my colleague Gauri Dwivedi joins me for more on this. For all our viewers joining in, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and his wife Usha Vance and their 3 children, in fact, Evan, Vivek and Mirabel, landed at New Delhi's Parliament base this morning. Now, the family was received by Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav. While Vance was accorded the ceremonial guard of honor, Usha Vance watched on. Their children, meanwhile, emerged from the plane, the boys in kurtas and Mirabel in a traditional Indian lehenga. Now, interestingly, this is not only Vance's family's first visit to India after him becoming the vice president. This is, in fact, his first visit to India, an official visit by the U.S. Vice President after 12 long years. The U.S. Vice President also visited the Akshardham temple, after which he will also be going to Janpath for some shopping. For more on this, My colleague Gauri Dwivedi joins me. Gauri, the visit interestingly also coincides with the rapidly intensifying trade war between Washington and Beijing, and Vance is likely to deliver an address tomorrow in Jaipur, where he is also expected to make a policy statement. What are you picking up? What's the latest?
It's an important visit, Arjun. You rightly pointed out that it is happening in the shadow of the tariff war that President Trump has unleashed. Let's not forget, for India, there's a 90-day pause, and this pause is the window that India has to be able to really thrash out some sort of a trade deal. And reports suggest that a lot of progress has been made, and we may be inching towards a trade pact. And as we stand right now, the trade pact with the President Trump administration would possibly unlock a lot of other aspects of the bilateral relationship, which right now are moving ahead, but could probably be fastened even further. And I think that is the most important aspect. When Vice President Vance, who's of course, for him it's a semi-private visit, where he's also going to be in Jaipur and Agra in the next 2 days. He will be meeting Prime Minister Modi later in the evening, and when he does, he would be speaking and carrying forward the world view of President Trump, whether it is in terms of trade, whether it is in terms of engagement with the other leaders and in this region. So I think those are some of the other important parameters that one needs to keep in mind as one assesses the importance of Vice President Vance's visit. What could be the key highlights of this? I think my assessment, 3 areas could really stand out. India's concerns around immigration, that is likely to find feature in some of these talks. Second could be some progress on trade. And the third could also be, let's not forget, some talk around terrorism. Tagore Rana was extradited after the extradition took place after President Trump and Prime Minister Modi met this year. So that, I think, is also important aspect of how these talks could shape up in the evening.
Well, thank you so much for putting things into perspective for our viewers, Gauri. Staying with US and India, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has in fact said that New Delhi is aiming to wrap up the first phase of a trade pact with Washington by autumn this year. She is currently in fact on a 5-day visit to the US, where she will attend key IMF and even World Bank meetings and also meet US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Now, the push for a deal comes as India seeks to avoid new US tariffs and deepen trade ties under President Donald Trump. Meanwhile, India's chief trade negotiator Rajesh Agrawal will also visit Washington on the 23rd of April. Now, this as both sides try to finalize a deal within Trump's 90-day tariff freeze. Listen in, meanwhile, to what the Finance Minister Sitharaman had to say.
Even as I talk, I think the Vice President of the United States of America is in India. He will be engaging with the Prime Minister hopefully this evening or tomorrow. In between all this, the additional USTR had visited India to see the progress or to engage with the negotiating team who's dealing with the tariff-related negotiation and with the bilateral trade agreement that we want to sign. In fact, the progress of the agreement or the trade agreement that we are working on, at least a first tranche, is something which we hope to conclude positively by the fall this year.
Thousands of protesters rallied Saturday in New York, Washington and other cities around the United States for a second major round, in fact, of demonstrations against Donald Trump and his hardline policies. Now, many took aim at Trump's deportations of undocumented migrants. Protesters voiced concern that Trump was, in fact, threatening long-respected constitutional norms. Now, this also includes the right to due process. The chief organizer of Saturday's protests, the group 50501, a number representing 50 protests in 50 states and one movement, said some 400 demonstrations were in fact planned. US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is under fire once again, now this time reportedly for sharing sensitive Yemen war details in a second private signal chat. Now, the group included his wife, brother and personal lawyer. It's the second leak incident linked to Hegseth after journalist Jeffrey Goldberg was mistakenly added to a similar previous group. Now, these revelations come days after several senior Pentagon officials were fired over an internal leak probe. Critics, including top Democrats, are now demanding Hexet's designation. The White House, meanwhile, is backing him, blaming the leaks on so-called disgruntled ex-employees trying to, in fact, derail Donald Trump's defense agenda. Across the border, Canada has seen a record turnout on the first day of advance voting. Nearly 2 million voters showed up on Friday alone. This is according to Elections Canada, marking a 36% jump compared to 2021's early voting numbers. Now, for perspective, an agency responsible for administering Canadian federal elections and referendums, long queues were reported nationwide, with voters waiting up to 2 hours in some areas. Now, with just days to go before Election Day on the 28th of April, registered voters can very well cast their ballots early until the 21st of April. While it's unclear if the trend will reflect in overall turnout, officials have said that the numbers do show Canadians are highly engaged this election season. The Gurudwara in Canada's Vancouver has been defaced with pro-Khalistani graffiti. The Khalsa Diwan Society, which manages the Ross Street Gurudwara, confirmed that separatist slogans like Khalistan Zindabad were spray-painted on the temple walls. The incident occurred the same day as the massive Vaisakhi parade in nearby Surrey. Authorities have said that the Vancouver Police Department is investigating the matter. In a statement, the Gurdwara has meanwhile termed the act as an attempt by extremists to instill fear and division within the Sikh community in Canada. The Ross Street Gurdwara, established in 1906, had barred pro-Khalistani groups from participating in their Vaisakhi celebrations. My colleague Maha Siddiqui, meanwhile, brings us the latest on this.
The leaders of the Gurudwara say that this is being done by a small group of pro-Khalistan separatists who are indulging in intimidation tactics and also trying to create divisions within the Sikh community. And they say that this goes against not just the ethos of Sikhism, which calls upon inclusivity, but also the ethos of the Canadian society at large. And simultaneously, there was another incident that took place at the Lakshmi Narayan temple in Surrey. Surrey is another city, but very close to Vancouver, about 50 minutes or 1 hour drive from Vancouver. And here again, hateful graffiti was seen painted at the Lakshmi Narayan temple building wall. And the leaders of the temple there have said that it is not a coincidence that both these have taken place on the same day. They've also linked it to the advance polling of the election. And they've said that this should be investigated together, considering that these great hateful graffiti were painted both on the Gurudwara on Ross Street in Vancouver and at the Surrey Lakshmi Narayan temple. So they are linking both these incidents that took place. But yes, both of them have taken place either in Vancouver or close to Vancouver. The Vancouver Police Department, which is investigating the graffiti on the Gurudwara, have said so far they have not been able to apprehend any suspect. However, they are investigating the matter.
PM Modi is set to visit Saudi Arabia from the 22nd to the 23rd April at the invitation of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Now, this will be PM Modi's first visit to the kingdom in his third term. The trip is expected to boost India-Saudi Arabia Strategic Partnership Council and expand ties in trade, defense, energy, and even technology. Saudi Arabia is India's fifth largest trading partner for perspective, with bilateral trade nearly hitting $43 billion in 2023-24 alone. Now, PM Modi's visit also comes as global attention focuses on West Asia amid ongoing regional tensions and high-level diplomacy, in fact, involving the US, Iran, and other players. In West Asia, the Israeli military has admitted to professional failures in an operation that killed 15 emergency workers, including 14 medics and a UN staffer in Gaza last month. In fact, an internal inquiry found operational misjudgments and a breach of orders as well. The deputy commander involved has been dismissed for an inaccurate report. Meanwhile, the Palestinian Red Crescent Society has rejected these Israeli findings, terming them an attempt to in fact shift blame. The March 23rd strike drew international criticism, with the Red Cross calling it, or rather labeling it, unacceptable. The Israeli military, on its part, has said steps will be taken to avoid similar incidents in the future. It's time we slip into a short break. I'll see you on the other side.
Love that.
Save up to £205 on your home insurance. He's just used Confused. JustUsedConfused.com.
From the big transformations to the small home improvements. Feel as proud as a peacock with Wigs.
Armed in? Okay, now, you can have a great first day. I promise, all right? You let me.
Your donations helped 3D print his heart to guide his surgery. And saved his life with a groundbreaking innovation. And the future breakthrough that could cure her is closer than ever. Help us turn science fiction into reality and save more lives like hers. Donate to the British Heart Foundation now.
Remember those nights we didn't take off our makeup? Our skin does. Lucky I've got this new night serum then.
New No. 7 Future Renew Night Serum with Night Active Pepticology works with your skin to reverse visible signs of skin damage while you sleep. Save £10 on new No. 7 Future Renew Night Serum.
This is an urgent appeal from UNICEF UK. Children in Gaza are in critical need of food, water and medicine, and we need your help. Families are still at risk. The services they rely on have been destroyed and their lives turned upside down. UNICEF is working non-stop, providing life-saving medical supplies, clean water and fuel to keep services running. But we can't do it without you. To find out how you can help, search UNICEF Gaza or text Gaza to 84915. £39 could provide a family with an emergency water and hygiene kit. Whatever you can afford, your vital gift will help UNICEF keep working with children and families in Gaza to get through this crisis. Search UNICEF Gaza online or text Gaza to 84915 and help bring hope for children caught in this devastating crisis. Thank you.
Goldbank London, your #1 place for buying and selling gold. Visit goldbank.co.uk or call 0203 500 1111.
So bizarre, the coincidence.
Welcome back. You're watching The World Report. On to some business news now. A Boeing 737 MAX jet painted for China's Sharma Airlines has in fact been returned to the US, a casualty of rising trade tensions between Washington and Beijing. The $55 million aircraft landed back in Seattle after China's 125% tariff made its delivery economically unviable. The plane had been in fact awaiting final checks at Boeing's Zhoushan Center. Meanwhile, analysts have said that more deliveries could be delayed or deferred altogether as airlines grapple with steep costs. Now, this follows Donald Trump's decision to raise tariffs on Chinese goods to a staggering 145%, triggering retaliatory duties by Beijing, leaving many international aircraft deals in limbo. In a first of its kind move, Dubai City Tourism Department has launched an Influencer Academy. Yes, that's right, an Influencer Academy in partnership with a travel content agency. Well, what are they offering? 3 months of social media training for students who learn how to sell the Dubai dream to potential relocators and even tourists. Motor Group and POSCO Holdings have signed a deal to collaborate on a steel plant in Louisiana with production set to begin in 2029. The $5.8 billion facility will have an annual capacity of 2.7 million tons. The announcement comes a month after Hyundai, in fact, committed $21 billion in U.S. investments during a White House meeting with President Donald Trump. The project aims to strengthen South Korea's manufacturing footprint in America amid ongoing trade tensions and also tariff uncertainties. A Moscow court has found Google guilty of revealing personal data of Russian soldiers killed in Ukraine. Now, according to Russian state media TASS, a YouTube video allegedly published by Google itself disclosed casualties and sensitive information. The company hasn't responded to the ruling yet. Meanwhile, Russia continues to pressure foreign tech firms to remove content it deems illegal, often related to its Ukraine war narrative. Meanwhile, President Putin has also earlier accused Google of being a political tool for the US government and Washington. The BCCI has dropped annual contracts for the Indian cricketing team on this morning. Shreyas Iyer has made a comeback in the BCCI's central contracts, now listed in the men's B team. Rishabh Pant, meanwhile, has also climbed back up in Grade A after recovering from injury. Several fresh names have also entered the mix, the Grade C mix rather. These include Ishan Kishan, Abhishek Sharma, Dhruv Jurel, Sarfaraz Khan, Nitish Kumar Reddy, Akashdeep and Harshit Rana. Meanwhile, Shardul Thakur, Jitesh Sharma and KS Bharat have been dropped from the list. My colleague Rika joins me for more on this. Rika, what's the latest you're picking up and how are these contract renewals set to impact Team India?
Well, the big news that is coming out of the contract renewal of the year 2024-2025 is that Shreyas Iyer and Ishan Kishan are back in the annual contracts list. Remember, last year, both these men were dropped from the contracts list because they were not a part, they refused to play Ranji Trophy, they were not a part of the domestic circuit, hence the selectors, or rather the BCCI, did not deem it fit to give them annual contracts. This time around, Shreyas Iyer has made his way back, courtesy brilliant performances during Champions Trophy. He's also been doing very well in the IPL. He's 10th on the list of the highest run scorers. Being the captain of Punjab Kings, he has taken the team to the 4th position as of now on the league table. So he has delivered good performances. Talking about Ishan Kishan, he scored a century at the start of the season. Since then, his performance has not really looked very good, but the fact that he is back in the Ranji Trophy circuit has earned him this contract. Apart from this, our Ashwin, who has now retired from Test cricket, has been dropped from the players' contract. 34 players have been given contracts in the grades A+, A, B and C. They are going to earn 7 crore rupees, 5 crore, 3 crore and 1 crore respectively in these 3 grades. Apart from...
I'd just like to stop you there, Rika. 34 players, you said, have been given contracts in categories A, B and C. Thank you so much, in fact, for putting that in perspective for our viewers. Moving on, after a crushing defeat against the Mumbai Indians, Chennai Super Kings skipper MS Dhoni dropped a major hint. Now, next year, he might already be on his mind. In the post-match presentation, in fact, Dhoni said CSK has succeeded by playing good cricket, not by letting emotions get the better of them when things do not, in fact, go their way. He also added that while the team will fight to reach the knockouts this season, if that doesn't happen, they'll shift their focus to preparing for the next campaign. The former India captain also emphasized the need to, in fact, find the right combination without making too many changes. Mumbai Indians captain Rohit Sharma stormed back into form with a solid 76 off just 45 balls in Sunday's IPL clash against CSK. Struggling for runs this season, Rohit finally converted a good start into a match-winning knock and was also named the player of the match. With this feat, Rohit also surpassed Virat Kohli in the IPL honours list, earning a total of 20 credits, edging ahead of the RCB batter. Petcharine performed for the first time at Coachella on the day 2 of the week 2 in Mojave tent. and lets fans mesmerized with his solo act. Unlike most performers, Sharon ditched the backup singers and band opted instead for a one-man show. That's all we have for you this Monday. More news on the other side.
I think that there's something that's always there that I just need to uncover. Like, I know I'm gonna get there, but I have to be patient with myself. That's probably the scary part for me. And it's okay, like, if you completely pivot and change. You know, you have to be comfortable with that.
Exciting Easter deals have arrived at Very. Plus, you can get more time to pay with Very Pay. Like this Samsung Galaxy Book 4 powered by Intel Core processors, only £399. And this Lego City F1 truck with RB20 and AMR24 cars, £49.99. Shop Very today. Very. Let's make it sparkle.
Like many, I never gave my hearing a thought. But when it changed, I didn't want to lose what makes me, me. Hidden Hearing came highly recommended, with over 10,000 Trustpilot reviews. They understood. It wasn't just about hearing better, but living the life I love.
Join over 100,000 customers who trust our personalised care. Book your free hearing test today at one of our clinics nationwide. Hidden Hearing. Your hearing is our expertise.
If your garage looks like this, you need Tougher Man. A leading supplier of shelving for your home or business. Assembly is quick, easy and boltless. Buy one bay from just $59.99, or you can get 3 bays from only $119.99, saving you nearly £60. Plus you get a 5-year Storelex steel guarantee. Order now at tougherman.co.uk.
Nothing beats a celebration. And at Tesco Mobile, we're ringing in 30 years of Club Card with deals like the awesome new Samsung Galaxy A56 with 12 gigs of data for just £27.99 a month with Club Card prices, saving you £144. Better yet, that price is frozen for the duration of your contract. And you can even bag a £30 Tesco gift card too. It pays to be connected. Search Tesco Mobile. Every little helps.
Protect what matters to you with Simply Safe Home Security. Get our Which Best Buy rated starter pack from under £200. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
We know travel can be confusing. That's why I use travelup.com. You can upgrade your seat, one way or return, increase your baggage allowance, filter by flight time, journey duration, and customer rating. And while you're away, Travelup has you covered. From weather updates and on-demand taxi services, to event and excursion tickets, all at your fingertips. Book now on travelup.com or call 0207 580 5000. Travelup, flights, hotels, holidays.
From energy grids to tech breakthroughs to defence cooperation, Prime Minister Modi's 4th visit to Sri Lanka is set to be the most consequential, one that will elevate and reshape the India-Sri Lanka ties from here on. And watch that unmatched, non-stop ground coverage on NDTV World with me, Gauri Dwivedi, right here from Colombo.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
लेकिन लौटाया गया, लेकिन लोग रहेंगे कहाँ? रहने की जगह नहीं है, घर तोड़ दिया गया, जला दिया गया, तो ये लोग रहेंगे कहाँ? रहने की जगह कोई नहीं है.
Let's just switch tracks. In regard to the West Bengal violence in Murshidabad, the Supreme Court now wrapping the petitioners. Do remember there were 2 pleas that were being heard by the Supreme Court today, and the pleas sought a court-monitored probe. Now, the Supreme Court is questioning the grounds of those petitions. The top court warns the petitioner, says they don't really want to push with these pleas only to stay in the news. That is what the Supreme Court has said, while allowing the petitioners to file fresh pleas. The Supreme Court has declined to pass any directions on the pleas seeking deployment of paramilitary forces in West Bengal in light of the violence that broke out in Murshidabad. Nupur joining us. Nupur, take us through what really has the court said today.
And yes, the top court has in fact was today hearing two petitions that were filed by two lawyers as PIL seeking court intervention, court-monitored probe in the incidents of violence at Murshidabad. However, the court, at the outset, one of the lawyers, Advocate Vishal Tiwari, he himself requested the court to withdraw the petition as he felt there were some amendments that were needed in his petition. Second lawyer who was there before the court requested the court to tag his petition along with a similar matter that is coming tomorrow. But what is important today is that the top court made very harsh observations about these both petitions. The top court said that they were in fact poorly drafted and were filed without any research. The top court said that it is good that they want to come up and file, bring up cases of people in the top court, but they must be with the intention to help the public, but not to play to the gallery of media outside. And they just rushed into, it appeared the court said they rushed in to file the petitions without doing their research, proper research. So the court, after coming down heavily on the second lawyer, allowed him to also withdraw and file a fresh amended petition where it is in fact clear that what parties he is including in his prayer, what are his prayers when it comes to the exact Murshidabad violence. So no hearing as such could happen when it comes to the violence that occurred in Murshidabad, as the petitions were drafted very poorly. Now, tomorrow there is a likelihood of the Supreme Court taking up another petition with regards to the violence that occurred there. And the prayer in that petition has been of imposition of a president's rule and deployment of paramilitary force, keeping in mind the law and order situation. Now, it will be important to see that what the top court says tomorrow.
Right, of course, that is in regard to the paramilitary forces being deployed in the area. But also, Nupur, stay with us, of course, in regard to the top court making repeated references. The court's observation when it comes to criticism. Well, the Supreme Court has, of course, gone on to say that criticized for the interference in execution. And this is something as far as the observations are concerned in two separate cases.
Yes, in fact, today first at the outset when this petition that is coming up tomorrow for hearing with regards to West Bengal was mentioned today by the in front of the bench headed by Justice B.R. Gavai. The bench observed that already how can the petitioner ask the bench to pass such a direction to the president to impose a president rule in a state when already the Supreme Court is facing these allegations of interfering with the executive's domain and legislature's domain. So it was indeed a very strong remark. And now, while hearing another petition where the same lawyer, Vishnu Shankar Jain, was appearing for another petitioner where they had in fact sought regulation or a ban on obscene content on Netflix, and they had alleged that OTT platforms like Netflix, Alt Balaji are showcasing pornographic content. So while hearing this petition, the top court said that it is in fact, if regulations are to be brought in, it is in legislature's domain. And while hearing this, they again remarked that what is falling in executive and legislature's domain, you are bringing it to us, then again you will say that we are interfering. So it was said in jest, but it is quite clear that the top court is not letting go of these remarks, and it will keep reminding people that it is well aware of the comments that are being made against them. And as we have discussed that previously, just over the weekend, several petitions have been filed seeking contempt of court against Nishikant Dubey, the BJP MP. So it will be interesting to see how things unfold from here on.
Right, Nupur Dogra, thank you so much for getting us all those details in regard to these observations made in court today. Let's just get you more news, and this is in regard to West Bengal, but now this is in regard to the teachers' protest. So the teachers have resumed their protest in Kolkata, wanting a separate list of tainted candidates. The teachers have now given a deadline of 6 o'clock this evening. The teachers of West Bengal have continued their protests across the state even after the Supreme Court on the 17th of this month allowed untainted teaching candidates to continue working until the West Bengal School Service Commission completes its fresh recruitments, and that too by the 31st of December this year. They are now demanding a separate list of those who are tainted candidates, and a deadline has also been set for later this evening. Now, Congress leader and leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, has called on Congress-ruled states to implement the Rohit Vemula Act to combat caste-based discrimination in educational institutions. Building on his previous appeal to Karnataka's Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, Rahul Gandhi has now written to Himachal Pradesh's Chief Minister and also the Chief Minister of Telangana, urging them to take the lead in enacting the act. And now the BJP has lashed out at the Congress MP and the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, over his recent comments in the United States. Do remember, he was at the Brown University, and while interacting with the students, Rahul Gandhi had reiterated his voter fraud charge linked to the Maharashtra elections that took place last year. While addressing students at the Brown University in Boston, he alleged that the Election Commission is compromised. The BJP, fuming over his remarks, labelled him as a traitor and accused him of deflecting frustrations over the probes of the Enforcement Directorate into the National Herald case onto the Election Commission. The BJP has called him a serial offender and an agent of George Soros and accused him of defaming the country, while the opposition party insisted its rivals cannot always cry defamation.
In simple terms, more people voted in the Maharashtra Assembly elections than there are adults in Maharashtra. This is the fact. And the Election Commission gave us a figure, voting figure, for 5:30 in the evening. And between 5:30 in the evening and 7:30 in the evening, when the poll was supposed to have closed, 65 lakh voters voted. Now, that is physically impossible to happen. It is very clear to us that the Election Commission is compromised. It's very clear that there is something very wrong with the system.
आज वो विदेश की भूमि में जाकर भारत और भारत के महान लोकतंत्र को अपमानित कर रहे हैं, उसे बदनाम कर रहे हैं। राहुल जी अमेरिका में जाके इलेक्शन कमीशन को कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड